General global statistics. The UN Human Rights Council recognizes areas to clean and healthy environment as a fundamental right. Access to clean and healthy environment as a fundamental right. The world population increased from 1 billion in 1800 to 7.7 billion today. The UN projects that global population increases from a population of 7.7 billion in 2019 to 10.9 billion by the end of the century. The global average fertility rate is just below 2.5 children per woman today. More than 4 billion people live in urban areas globally. 55% of the world population live in urban areas. According to the annual survey by the Berlin-based organization Transparency International, Somalia, North Korea, and Afghanistan are perceived to be the most corrupt countries. Denmark, Finland, and Sweden are perceived to be the least corrupt countries. In 2019, an estimate 5.2 million children under 5 years died mostly from preventable and treatable causes. Children aged 1 to 11 months accounted for 1.5 million of these deaths, while children aged 1 to 4 years accounted for 1.3 million deaths. Newborn under 28 days accounted for the remaining 2.4 million deaths, WHO report. The world needs to produce at least 50% of more food by 2050 to feed a projected 9 billion people. 400 million people worldwide lack access to essential health services. 250 million primary school age children cannot read or write, although many have been in school. 90% of countries have at least one legal restriction for women seeking economic opportunities. 2.4 billion people do not have access to toilets. Of these, 946 million still defecate in open. Journalist killing declined by 20% in 2016 to 20 globally, UNESCO. Globally, 1.1 billion people still don't have access to electricity. In South Asia, 60% of working women are employed in the agricultural sector. Globally, about 1 in 1,000 people work in research and development. Only one-third of the world poor are covered by social safety nets. Global solid waste generation is projected to exceed 11 million tons per day by 2100. Global change could cut crop yield by more than 25%. Climate change could cut crop yields by more than 25%. About 1 billion people worldwide rely on seafood as primary source of animal protein. Globally, 54 million people work in the forest sector. Over 100 countries worldwide already have access to information laws. The USA alone needs 1.5 million more data scientists, analysts, and data literate managers. In 2020, the Earth's surface temperature was around 0.98 degrees warmer than 20th century average. Reports on global affairs. The new study shows that the emergence of Earth's first living organism billions of years ago may have been facilitated by strikes of lightning. The US and European Union announced coordinated sanctions on Russia for poisoning of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny and his arrest and detention that followed. Bones belonging to a new type of early human, previously unknown to science, have been found in Israel. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged India to end the use of pellets against children in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Over a billion people in the world have hypertension, says the World Economic Forum. According to The Economist, global food prices have risen in 13 of the past 15 months and are close to their global peak in 2011. According to the WHO, breast cancer caused around 6 lakh deaths worldwide in 2020, and 2.3 million women were diagnosed with it. Since 1990, the world population has swelled from 5.3 billion to 7.8 billion today. In addition, 2.5 billion people. The addition of 2.5 billion people. Today, 90% of the world's 1.8 billion young people are living in developing countries. Facebook is selectively curbing hate speech against Indian Muslims. Study. People cut down about 15 billion trees every year for heating, construction, and industrial purposes, says World Economic Forum. War crimes and crimes against humanity, including the use of child soldiers, have been committed in Libya since 2016, a United Nations investigation revealed. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg suffered an estimated loss of 6 billion rupees, $6 billion as shares plummeted due to social media platform outage. According to Down Detector, which tracks online outages globally, more than 3.5 billion people were affected. More than 5 billion people could have difficulty accessing water in 2050, the United Nations warned. About 28% of adult women have reached at least a secondary level of education compared to 46% of their male counterparts. While fighting poverty, China has met targets set by United Nations under its Sustainable Development Goals 10 years ahead of the deadline. In the last 8 years, China's 98.99 million impoverished rural residents living under standard poverty line have been pulled out of the poverty gap. The ILO's annual World Employment and Social Outlook report indicated that the planet would be 75 million jobs short at the end of 2021 compared to the pandemic had not occurred. Ray-Ban and Facebook have teamed up to create a pair of smart glasses starting at $299 that will allow users to capture photos and videos while staying in moment. Air pollution kills 7 million a year, says WHO. An ambassador is an honest man sent abroad to lie and intrigue for the benefit of his country, the British diplomat Sir Henry Watson said over 400 years ago. According to the Financial Times, over 40% of unhappy time for men is caused by bosses compared to roughly 30% for women. About 80% of the world's ocean plastic bottles, sachets, wrappers, etc., flows from Asian rivers, of which a third is from Philippines, says the World Economic Forum. About 60% of millennials now have direct reports, giving them the opportunity to drive real changes within their organizations and teams they lead, say HBR Ascent. Washington and Tehran are expected to reach a compromise to resume talks on the resurrecting the Iran nuclear deal, analysts say. Britain's proposed law to implement what is called the biggest overhaul of asylum rules in decades undermines established international refugee protection rules, the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR said. The Panama Canal is an artificial 82-kilometer waterway in Panama that connects Atlantic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean and divides North and South America. The use of mobile phone while driving is to be included in the list of serious offenses. The United Nations Children Agency UNICEF has urged education authorities to reopen schools all over the world in 2021. SpaceX send all civilian crew into Earth's orbit. In 2019, global military expenditure reached US $1.9 trillion, following the largest annual increase in a decade. NASA confirms Perseverance Mars rover got its first piece of rock. Google sees future to seek to work as hybrid. Google sees future of work as hybrid. Locust swarm can travel up to 150 kilometers a day. Observers in the World Economic Forum, that is roughly the distance between Karachi and Hyderabad. Only 1 in 10 people have the right qualities to be a good leader, according to the 2015 Gallup study. The United States, nearly 100,000 girls are admitted to hospital every year due to self-harm. FBI document shows the links between 9/11 hijackers and Saudis. Democracy means giving real voice to people, says UN chief. The UN called for a moratorium on artificial intelligence systems like facial recognition technology that threaten human rights until guardrails are in place against violations. 25 years after its adoption, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty has made the world a safer place. Experts say despite never being ratified and concerns over North Korea. According to the new data released by WHO globally, 1 in 3 women have been subjected to physical or sexual violence in their lifetime, often by someone they love or live with. In 2017, Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg published a manifesto about the future where he argued that connecting everyone to the internet is necessary for building an informed community. Among college graduates with young children, women want to work from home full-time, almost 50% more than men, says Harvard Business Review. In 2020, United States spent $300 billion in foreign aid. Journalist skilling declined by 20% in 2016 to 20 globally, UNESCO. IAEA says Iran has accelerated uranium enrichment. It is taking 70 days for ocean freight to travel from its port of origin of China to America, compared with 47 days in the last August. The IMF largest ever allocation of $650 billion in special drawing right became effective and can bring about 2.7 billion additional funding for Pakistan as well. As far as UNESCO, half of the world's students are still affected by partial or full school closure, while over 100 million additional children will fall below the minimum proficiency level in reading as a result of health crisis. 1 in 100 deaths is by suicide, says WHO. LED streetlights led to decline in insect population study. A study measuring water concentration in Venus's atmosphere concluded that life as we know it is not possible among the sulfuric acid droplets that make up the planet's famously cloudy skies. WHO urges rich states to stop booster shots for fairness sake. The Ring of Fire, also referred as Circum-Pacific Belt, is a path along the Pacific Ocean characterized by active volcanoes and frequent earthquakes. Its length is approximately 40,000 kilometers. The representative from 195 countries in August 6, 2021 approved a critical UN science report that will provide the most comprehensive up-to-date assessment yet of the state of Earth's climate. US announces 5 additional global terrorist lists. By 2022, 54% of the all employees will require significant upskilling according to the World Economic Forum. Groups of white women pay $5,000 to attend a dinner party at which they push to confront their deeply rooted racism. A strategic depth is a term in military literature that broadly refers to the distance between the front lines or battle sectors and the combatants' industrial core areas, capital cities, heartlands, and other key centers of the population or military production. EU Court allows companies to ban headscarves under certain conditions.